Alrighty guys, welcome back to yet another video. So it has been a few weeks and we finally have the Jaguar back on the channel. So if you guys been keeping up with the channel, I just picked up this Jaguar F-Type just a month or two ago. And when I got the car, it was already in very bad condition. There was a lot of mechanical issues with it. And I immediately brought it in to the service center at Jaguar. First, I had a couple issues that I made a video about, kind of walking through all the problems. But when I brought it into the shop, they found so much more wrong with the car. And I just got the car back, and luckily a lot of it was covered under warranty. And I'm going to be walking you through everything that was broken that has been addressed and some things that they could not fix. The repair bill came out to $10,000. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this car is not cheap to maintain, I gotta say. Luckily, I did not have to pay a single dime to get this car fixed. But the things that weren't fixed, I do have to pay out of pocket for. And I'm gonna talk about that later. First was this passenger side mirror. It was not folding down, so the dealership did address that. They just had to basically reset the car, reprogram it, because this car is equipped with the feature of enabling the mirror tilt down. I did have the setting enabled in my car, but it just wasn't working no matter how many times I tried to set it. So I think the software just kind of got glitched out. So they did reprogram the entire car and it is working now. Another issue was the fueling. So every time I try to fill up gas, this thing just would cut off every second. So I couldn't even fill it up fully. But they replaced that. They had to rip out the entire back portion of the car. And they basically replaced some sort of canister, like a carbon canister, the piping and all that. So they replaced the whole system and now it is working, so that's good. Now I'm going to talk about an issue that was not covered under warranty, and it is the brakes and tires. So this car came with terrible brakes. They were worn out completely, and the tires were also worn out, and the tires were also leaking air. So because those are wear and tear items, the warranty did not want to cover it. I bought the car from Carvana, and on the Carvana 150-point inspection sheet, it showed that they were aware that the brakes were bad. And they even marked it off as repaired. They said they addressed it and repaired it. Clearly, they did not, because they were completely worn, the rotors were warped, and the car was shaking really, really bad. The dealership took the car apart and taken a closer examination and did indeed say and show me that the brakes were bad. I did replace the brakes myself just today. It was an out-of-pocket expense that I had to pay for, and I'm going to be making another video about the brakes that I got on here. But yeah, that was not covered, and unfortunately, the warranty did not want to address it, even though they should have. So yeah, and tires are bad, but that's fine. I got custom rims, aftermarket rims for the car already. So now moving to the back of the car, and it's actually to do with the suspension. So the bottom suspension control arms, or the control links on both sides, were damaged. They were worn out completely. The rubber bushing part was torn. So what that caused is a misalignment on the car and very bad tire wear on the inner portion because of the alignment. Now they did replace and cover the control arms down here. So we do have new suspension components just on the bottom part. Might be difficult to see, but they replaced the links on both sides, and they even did an alignment which was covered under warranty. Got new suspension components and alignment, and now the car is driving properly. It's not causing uneven tire wear or alignment issues. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop the hood and talk about some issues inside the engine bay. Oh yeah, before we do that, on the interior, I did bring up to the service center that we had a failing headliner. So on the driver's side here, so yeah, if you look over here, this headliner is failing and it's bubbling up. So warranty did not want to cover that because it's a cosmetic issue. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the hood, and this is where there was major issues. So what I noticed when I got the car is that the coolant level was very low, and I did have to top it up twice within a single month. So they pressurized the coolant system and they found that there was multiple coolant leaks. The reservoir was not good, and even all the hoses were bad. Basically what they said is they noticed it has been replaced in the past, but all the parts were aftermarket. And because of the aftermarket parts, they weren't fitting correctly, causing a coolant leak. So they did address that issue already. Under the car, when they pressurized it, they also checked the oil, and they saw that the oil was leaking out of a thermostat pump or something. I'm not too familiar with the mechanics, honestly, but they did say there was an oil leak. So they did have to replace the thermostat or some sort of pump, and that fixed the oil leak. Now, what's strange though is that the warranty company covered all of that except an oil change, because that's a wear and tear item. So that doesn't really make any sense that they're going to cover an oil leak but not the oil change, because we lost oil from the leak, and on top of that, replacing that component is causing more oil to drip out of the engine. So the car is low on oil right now, so I shouldn't be driving it. I should top it up. If anything, I should change the oil on it. So yeah, that's kind of ridiculous that they didn't want to cover the oil change portion. I understand it's a wear and tear item, but they're not even considering the fact that the leak is what caused the oil to be low, right? On top of that, on the service history of the car, an oil change was not performed by the time they sold the car to me. That's a courtesy. That's like a normal thing that any dealership should do. When you sell a car, you should do an oil change before you sell it to a customer. And the craziest part is this car has not gotten a service since 2018. So this car has been neglected for many, many years, which is kind of ridiculous and unprofessional. I'm going to be addressing all these issues directly with Carvana and potentially even filing a suit against them. I don't know exactly how I'm going to approach this just yet, but I want to see if they can make things right by covering those items, or at least reimbursing me for the things that they neglected. So yeah, that is pretty much what's going on with the Jaguar. I got the car back. Everything is fixed on it. It just needed new brakes that I paid out of pocket for today, new tires, but I already bought a set of aftermarket wheels and tires, which I will be installing. They're just sitting in the back right over there. All the mechanics on this car are pretty much fixed up and good to go. I just do have to do an oil change with this car, which yet again, I don't think they're going to cover. So I'm just going to do it myself anyway. Now I do also want to show you guys the actual documentation for the service. So this is the full packet of documentation that they provided for receipts that I can use for basically any legal issues if I need to file a suit or claim. That is the dealership I went to, Jaguar Land Rover Huntington. Fuel for gas filling issue, fueling issue, and you can look at the service cost. It's quite expensive. You know, labor is $4.99 an hour. So over here we have more issues. Performed coolant pressure tests, engine cover and undershield visually inspected cooling system, found coolant leak coming from thermostat housing, also found oil leak, need additional time to further diagnose. Client states suspension bushings in the back look torn, which I did notice. That's why I brought it up to them. Road tested, vehicle verified, customer concern. Rotors warped, causing vibration, pulsating while braking. That was not covered though, so that's why I did not do it. Found oil leak coming from vacuum pump. Remove seats, interior trim, etc., etc. So then they did thermostat replacement, cooling system, vacuum. Found system not sealed still. They actually did a 2-time service for that. Coolant return pipe not sealed, so they replaced the pipe, and this is all the parts and whatnot. It's just adding up one after the other. Then we have head cylinder coolant outlet pipe that was also replaced again, and they replaced air filters, inducts the throttle body, supercharger belt. $10,311. Now luckily all this was covered. Now the one thing I did pay for was the $66 because that was for the gas sublet amount, and that's just what they called it. But yeah, they did fill up the car with gas, so I had to pay for that portion. But other than that, man, this car is an absolute nightmare. But yeah, luckily everything was covered under warranty. I still have a month of warranty remaining. I chose not to extend it though, just because I feel like once all these issues are addressed, they should last a while, and I don't want to pay for the warranty. This stuff is expensive. But if you are going to be buying one of these pre-owned, I'm not completely telling you to steer away from it, but try to get one that has at least a temporary warranty where you can address most of the issues and just get all the maintenance knocked out in the early stages. Now, because another issue that I had with this car when I first got it, literally day 2, the battery died, and I had to replace that myself out of pocket, but Carvana did actually reimburse me with a check. So the battery itself was like $250, but they actually sent out a $300 check to me to make up for it. So there is, you know, it's not the end of the world, you know. So honestly, with the damages on this car, I didn't really have to pay much to get it fixed. If anything, I paid nothing because I'm getting all the money back from it. But yeah, that's just something to note about these cars. They're not the most reliable, especially if they weren't maintained properly to start with. So yeah, that's kind of the update on the Jaguar. But yeah, everything is working now. Very, very happy that it's finally back. I've had this car for like 2 months so far of ownership, and I've only had it in my driveway for maybe a few weeks, and that's it. It's been living in the shop more than it has been outside on the road. Anyways, that is an update on the Jaguar F-Type. It is back on the channel. Everything is up to spec and running. We still need to do an oil change, but I don't know exactly when or how or whatever the case is going to be for that. I'm still in communication with Carvana with a lot of these issues, but I'm still going to do the oil change myself. I'm going to order the oil and then get that done. I just got the brakes, and I got my new wheels that I'm going to install either today or tomorrow. Anyways, it's been your boy RickyMoto. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.